It's time for Geocache Talk. Whether you are at work, in the car, or wherever you are, we hope you enjoy this show about the great sport of geocaching. If you're watching live on YouTube, you can be part of the adventure tonight in the chat room and participate with others as they watch the show. If you are listening later, please give it a like and subscribe on your favorite podcasting app so that you can get all of the weekly Geocache Talk goodness.
If you would like to become a patron, click on the Become a Patron link on the front page of the Geocache Talk website or head over to patreon.com/Geocache Talk for more details. Patrons get the now famous blackout coins and other geocaching items during the year. Support levels start as low as the Bison Tube level, which is only $3 a month.
Big thanks to Derek and Baker Six Clan of Baker Six Clan, and who's producing tonight. Thank you, Derek. And our featured patrons, Lady Black Cat, RAR 285, Chihuahua Jill, R&M Cashers, Cal Running, DE Cryptoman, Julie D, Holo Yossi, Simmels 123, Chaos in Motion, and our new patrons, Tax Pro RGV, Wards of Draw. That's Dana. She finally sent me her GC name. Thank you, Dana. Wards of Draw, KZoo Otters, Homer CF, BA Wag 75, Roomba Cats, Stark AZ in Arizona, and Fishing Kitty. All right. Well, let's jump right into show 249. And as we discuss, John and Lava submit a geocache. John and Lava, welcome to the show.
Hey.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's always good to be here.
Absolutely, yes. Not John's first rodeo with us. Lava's first time. Thank you, Lava, for being on. Appreciate you. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna talk about a lot of things, and we're gonna submit a geocache tonight. So it's gonna be really cool. Something completely different that really was just kind of John's. John, this was kind of more your idea.
Yeah, I've never actually submitted a cache, so I think it's because I've been cleaning out my stuff. I moved back to New Mexico, and I have this Pelican case that was a wrap gift from a movie I worked on from the gaffer. I used to do a lot of set electrician work, and I've just never found a good use for it. And so it just sort of occurred to me. I was like, well, that'd be cool,
Yeah. That was a Forrest Whitaker movie, right?
That's right. It was called, I don't remember what they called it now. Two Men in Town is either what it's called now, or that's what it was called and they changed it, but I forget.
Right.
It goes.
So pretty cool. You got a gift that from a movie and it turned into a geocache. So that's pretty awesome.
That's a gaffer I worked for once. I forget his name. He was a real nice guy. And probably the nicest wrap gift I ever got from someone that wasn't like a consistent boss, It was really he had to give it to like maybe 12 people. It was pretty nice of him.
That's very cool. Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about the movies here in a moment, and also y'all's filmmaking as well tonight. But first, we got some news to do.
Support it. And if you guys see me doing something here, my dog is desperately trying to get our attention.
No problem.
So
yeah, I'm just hoping nobody can hear mine snoring over here. He's like 5 feet away from me. And he's snoring like a grown person.
All right, we got some news we'll get through tonight. First thing is, again, the new website. The website's been updated. Thank you, Derek, for updating the new website. I call it new. I guess
it's not new. Same website, just updated.
It's so great. It feels new. It's got that new car feel and new car smell. It's really great.
It's so good. It's a new website, and we're not going to tell you how to get to it.
No, that's not true. It's still geocachetalk.com, but okay. There you are. But
I thought it looked nicer. I was actually on there with today, and I was like, wow, this feels different, but I couldn't place it.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, it looks good.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you
very much. Okay, so real quick, we have some people who are on tonight. Hopefully they're in the chat room. I haven't looked to see if they've commented yet, but they're in the chat room, hopefully. But I did get permission. This is shared with permission. Near me, there is a new geocaching finding family. They're actually hiding caches too. And they just found number 100. And they asked me for my recommendation. Of course, I'm going to recommend one of mine. Was a surprise, right? No. No, I think the one that they wanted, I thought would be good because she said they were going to have several kids with them to go do this one. And I have one that's kind of neat. It's a 2-stage. You have to find the key to open the lock. So there's some extra stuff you have to do to get into the geocache. It's called Into the Mouth of a Lion. The lock is a giant lion, and you got to put the key in to get to open the cache up. So anyway,
Love that. It's got like a labyrinth feel to it, kind of.
Yeah, it's got this very it has like an Indiana Jones kind of feel to it because it's a giant lock. And so
that sounds awesome.
It's really cool. So I hid the key, and you have to use a compass to figure out which direction to go. Well, the family has one of the girls in the family just had her birthday. Happy birthday to Chloe. Chloe, there she is. And she's holding up in the picture, that is a geocaching pin, just to let you know. And along her wrist, though, something else she got was a compass. And little did Chloe know that she would need that compass to find the geocache, because part of the process of finding the key is I give you compass degree. And her mom said that she told the little group that, okay, we're going to have to go on a, from our designated spot we're at, we need to go on a certain degree, compass degree. And her daughter took off with her compass and immediately went to where the key was and grabbed the key, and they were able to open the cache. And so very exciting. So happy birthday to Chloe. She's 9 years old, I think yesterday. So there she is. So
that's pretty cool. That's a fun birthday present.
Isn't that cool? So they were very excited to hear about the fact that I wanted to mention, and I obviously asked her if that was okay if we could mention her and show her and stuff. So congrats to Chloe and family for that.
Chloe has found 100 now?
Chloe and family. Chloe
okay.
plus
So that was
family.
their milestone, though. So that's good.
That was their milestone, was 100. Yeah, they found
that's
more.
That's what we always want to hear, though, is and family. That's the best part of it. So
isn't that great? And family, yes. Very exciting. Okay, another quick note. We still have the social media manager position open. Read the note on the freshened website and send us an email, geocachetalk@gmail.com. And even if you're sort of interested but want more information, just send us an email to let us know you're interested, and we can get you more information. All right. Coins are wrapping up. The latest edition of our coins is wrapping up. One run and then done. We're not doing more than the first edition of each coin, which, speaking of, these are going like hotcakes, by the way.
Those
the
are
gadget
almost
talk.
gone.
This is my last one. There's some in the store because Chromia Print handles the store. But as far as in the, Geocache Talk South office, this is the last one. So
they'll be gone soon.
Get your coins while you can. All right.
Also, why I thought to hide a cache, because I had a coin you sent me.
Oh, that's right.
Oh.
Yeah, you put a path tag in there.
Yeah, no offense. I just thought it was going to waste sitting on a shelf. It's like someone else should have this that really is like Chloe's family. Someone that really is.
Yeah.
Fresh.
No, that's perfect. Yeah, there's a Geocache Talk path tag in there. A lot of cool stuff. We'll talk about the swag too, John. I think it'll be great. And yes, I now have another huge secret that
you're not going to say a word about.
I'm not going to do this.
Oh no, Gary just spilled the beans.
Yeah, you better not spill the beans on this one.
I'm not doing that.
No.
Even though I'm notorious for spilling beans, it ain't happening. You can ask me all you want. Oh, see? There you go. See, John's doing it. Nice try. People in the chat room are asking for spill the beans.
Yeah, we can't even come close to spilling the beans on this. This is just like
No.
one of the ones from before. We can absolutely not say a word.
Nope. Not talking about it anymore, and that was it. So now into the now we're going to talk about the show. So, first off, I got a little feedback going. Let me see. Maybe it might be me. Let me turn myself down a little bit. So John, I have a quote, and then he left. So Lava,
Hi.
Lava Buckley's, ladies and gentlemen. No, John's coming back. I'm kidding.
Sorry, my
But
dog.
we are going to get to. We got some cool stuff. I told Lava before the show we are going to talk about some things she's been involved in that I find fascinating, and we're going to talk about a road trip and all that. But I have a leftover question that I've always wanted to ask you, John, and never really got a chance on the different shows we've had you on. You worked on, you were an electrician, and you can kind of explain kind of your roles, but 2 movies I want to ask you about that you were a lighting technician on True Grit, the remake.
Right.
And you were an electrician on the Avengers, the first Avengers movie.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So, and you can speak of these separately, or if the experience was similar, I'll leave it up to you.
Actually, yeah, those are
what's
both examples. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. So the experience, once in a while, the public gets to hear some behind the scenes, or they'll see a behind the scenes with actors, and we kind of get a little bit of understanding of what they're looking at green screen wise. You know, we get some of that. But what's interesting, I guess, is we never really get much behind the scenes of what it's like to be part of the crew. So what was it like being, let's start with Avengers. What was it like? Well, first, where were you able to travel to be part of that?
So the Avengers, when I worked on that, I don't remember how long it was. It was a really long shoot. So I ended up, usually when I did set electrician, I was an actual set electrician, meaning like or a lighting technician, meaning I'm on set while they're filming the movie, doing the lighting and moving lights around.
Right.
For the Avengers, I actually was called to be part of the rigging crew, and because they were shooting in the stages in Albuquerque, so I was living.
Okay.
It was just like a day job. I'd just go over to it, and it was more like being part of a construction crew in some ways than being on a like a true movie set, I guess.
Right.
Because we were actually working when I got hired. I joined a team of probably, I want to say there was probably like 10, at least 10, maybe even 20 other electricians alone, like working there doing different capacity stuff. And then there'd be maybe an equal amount of grips, which are the guys who set up like the actual framing that like the lights will be placed on, if you will.
Okay.
Just way to describe it. And it was a pretty big crew, and we were basically, it was really like a construction team in the sense that we would lay all this cable. And so I was working on Nick Fury's Starship. And so Nick Fury's Starship was on the inside, what looked like the bridge, if you will, was like, this very large space where a lot of it takes place, on the bridge. Right. And on the outside, it was just like, it looked like the back of a Western town. It was just wooden scaffolding and like platforms and stuff like that. And so there's this whole underneath area that was almost like a basement in a way. Like It was on the ground level of the studio, but it was like underneath the actual set. And it's just where we ran tons of cable. So like really high gauge cable that we were running under there. Wow. Just like we called it a waterfall. So there'd be this like, I don't know, like 60 cables coming off of a platform, and they'd like perfectly like, we'd be spending our time perfectly lining them up and sometimes cinching them so that they stayed permanent and solid and couldn't float around and become a mess. So a lot of our time would be spent running this cable around, just that would be the set's power in the future. Wow. But then also like, it just depended on what they needed each day. And then like there was a couple of days where me and the whole team just spent setting up Kino flows, which if you don't know what those used to be state of the art. Now it's all LED stuff, but they used to be the state of the art way to not use hot lights, like lights, tungsten lighting.
Mm-hmm.
So like just like you'd have in your bulb and your lamp, that's a tungsten light. The hot lights that were what films always used to use were just giant versions of that, that you could control, and they get really hot. Whereas like the Kino Flow is more like a tube light, like like you'd find in a garage, sort of, not exactly the same, but same concept. So we had Kino Flow's rigged basically blue light, or it wasn't black light. It was kind of, it felt like that, but it was this weird, I forgot what color it was, this weird purpley blue color that we would light up the blue screen with. They had a blue screen, which they used because there was enough green elements in the movie. They had to go blue screen instead of green, just for like outside the window. Starship.
Right.
So it was this crazy purpley light to make that blue glow just more, for the VFX. The craziest thing is though, looking at those lights, I could see the rods and cones in my eyes shooting.
Oh,
around.
wow.
It was so strange. I realized it while I was working on them because we'd have to set them in the ground, and they're kind of like, if you imagine that this is the light and it shoots, we have to kind of set them so that they were shooting up and out of the screen from the ground. So we see lights, and it was like my eyes were dancing and I couldn't figure out what it was. And after a minute, I realized there were these little dots going, pew, pew.
Right, these lights. Oh my gosh.
And I pointed out to someone else. I'm like, are you seeing this or am I crazy? And they're like, what are you talking about? And I had to like describe it to them.
Right.
After a while, like, oh my gosh, I see it too. It's like it became this whole commotion. But anyway, and then also the other major thing I remember doing was hanging the light fixtures in Nick Fleury's Starship, like in the ceiling. So if you ever see any shots of that Starship's main bay, like main deck, I guess you'd call it. Yeah, if
the deck.
LEDs that are in the ceiling, I put a lot of those up in the ceiling. So that's my claim to fame, right there.
There you go.
But I didn't make them. Someone else. There had a whole other team.
Put them in.
Fixtures, but yeah, I put them up there. This is Banjo.
There's the pup.
Hey,
we found him
Banjo.
in New Mexico. He was a stray. Oh.
Hey, Banjo.
It was meant to be.
Yeah. We just got back today from a road trip, so he's extremely stoked that we exist still.
Right. Because you're like, yes, you're back.
He's a little overboard. But so weirdly, that show felt more like a construction, more like a 9-to-5 job than the other set electrician jobs I'd done.
Right. So how different was that from a film like True Grit, which the remake was, because I mean, that's pretty much all, I mean, very, very little that's filmed inside a cabin and a couple of them, but most, I mean, you're like, that's a lot of outdoor work, right?
Yeah, it was. I think that when I worked on True Grit, I didn't do the whole film. It's funny, those are the two films that I didn't do like the full part. I was sort of like someone they brought in for extra hands.
Right.
I think I worked on True Grit at least 2 weeks, maybe longer, but it was, there was the scene where they rode the horses really fast through like the trees. That's a terrible description. It's probably most of the movie, but this is like a road lined with trees on either side. I can't remember enough about the plot line anymore to say where it was, but
that's okay.
I was helping like with we had to do a lot of big 18K lights, so 18,000 watt lights, which are these huge, they almost look like 5-gallon drum sized things that may be bigger. So like they'll get mounted on scissor lifts or different types of lifts. So we had a lot of rigging to kind of get those flown up in the air. And then
very cool.
It's funny, I don't have a lot of memory of that. I did work there was the shack stuff that was all at night. A lot took place in the shack. So that was that might have been 2 weeks in itself actually, and it took a lot to shoot that because we had to do it all at night.
Right.
All night shoots, and the whole canyon that was behind that shack, they had built in platforms up into the mountains, like not mountains or hills really.
But still,
it'd be a good hike if you went up one. But it's like, so like when we arrived at set, we'd get to set, we'd get to eat breakfast. They usually offer you something to eat, and then we would load up in like vehicles and drive like half an hour out into the desert and up behind these hills, and they would drop us off like we were going to school, basically.
Right.
It was like me and Banjo, chill out, dude. Sorry.
He is crazy.
It was like me and at least one or two other people. It would just be all night on these platforms,
right,
doing the lighting
to get the lighting.
I was also teaching film a couple of days a week at the Santa Fe School for Art and Science, teaching film to 7th and 8th graders. So it wasn't a full-time job, so I was able to do both jobs. But me working on the True Grit, doing those overnights, I was so tired that I'd be like falling asleep on those platforms, and it was really I'd be like wrapping myself up in the plastic that you cover the lights with when the day was over. Like just like sleeping until the radio squawked, and I'd like scramble. Like, I'm like, what? They wouldn't need you for hours. You were just there for when they did need you.
Right.
the light or something.
Wow.
It was so those were weirder experiences in what I had done as a set electrician, because most of my experience was, I'd fallen in with a crew and we started on low budget stuff like sub-million for like, like, I don't know, $8 an hour, like working a union job and like getting our credentials basically, and working my way up to bigger stuff. But I was always very involved in the set and like, like standing, like sometimes I'd be standing next to actors, like hiding in the shadows because there was a lot of sticks in between takes or something, Whereas on the Avengers, I never saw an actor because I was the rigging crew. Even when they did start shooting, we were there. It was somewhere else on the studio. So it was kind of like more removed. And True Grit was a little bit like that because of the fact that I was sort of like an extra hand brought in.
Right.
I might have been around the actors on True Grit. I can't recall, but
yeah.
No, it was a different experience though. It felt more like a 9-to-5 construction job, which is fine,
Right.
Cool. I mean, it's like fun toys, and it's such an interesting thing to do.
It sounds like a very different experience between the two, because like on the Avengers, you can see your work, right? You can see the lights. On True Grit, it sounds like all the work you went in was to make it not seen. So you're putting all these lights in the area, and basically it's the whole. If you're successful, nobody's going to notice that there's lights there, right? It's just the shot looks good, and the other one you're right there in the front.
Totally. And on True Grit, like if you think about that cabin scene, if someone goes and watches it, like if you look at specifically the ones where you can see the cabin wider, there's probably always like a strong light edge to the back of it that's like the moonlight or something. And that was our lights. That was right. So really, all we were was like the backlight for like the scene, but it was such a humongous space, and they didn't want, like if they had us like a more like a lower budget movie or something would have just had us closer to set. Way less with 1 or 2 or maybe 3 big lights. We had like 60 lights or something. Oh my gosh. 60 18K lights, and they weren't always on. It would depend on what the DP wanted. What they wanted. But like, on other stuff where I was the on-set electrician and we're in like a Western scene or something, we would just have 1 or 2 of those lights on big rolling stands. Right. Just roll it where we want it to go. And I think that the danger, that like the hardship of the desert and the distance that they wanted to capture was why they needed it the way they did it.
Yeah. So, you've from that you've done, like I said, we'll produce. You've been a producer, a director. You screenplays, various things, which is incredible. Where you've been able to, you kind of been on different sides of it, which is great because then you kind of know. Yeah. I mean, it's really kind of cool that you've been able to do.
It started with when I was in college. I went to the Savannah College of Art and Design. Right. SCAD.
Savannah, Georgia.
Savannah, Georgia. Yeah, beautiful. It's such a cool place to go to college.
It is. It's a beautiful city.
Now SCAD's a lot in Atlanta, but I felt lucky I was there when it was mostly Savannah because it's such a special town. But when I was there, I didn't know I was going to be a filmmaker. I just knew I loved fine art, and to appease my dad, he was a stiff upper lip British man that was very minor, because that was a more realistic job. Sorry. And, my bad. No, it's cool. I kind of am fascinated by this as it changes. Yeah, as it changes. Yeah. As a filmmaker, I'm like, ooh, I like this editing. This is good cuts.
Like the bouncing ball, right?
Cool.
Follow it around.
Yeah, so I just sort of learned everything because I was excited about. Once I fell into film, it was so cool. Like, oh my gosh, I can do the sound design. I can make it sound like a spaceship. Oh, that's so cool. So I just kind of learn it all, Right. And then I ended up doing work in Savannah as like they call it a production assistant. It could be almost anything as your job. You're basically the gopher of sorts. Right. It's like that ended up getting me into overflow work for the union out there when they do concerts. And that got me work. That's how I was able to join the union in New Mexico, because it was starting to balloon and they needed more workers. And I already had, the hours coincidentally from just working in college. And then, so I came out here and I, for a while, forgot about anything except for making money being a set electrician. Right. Pretty decent money without having to work constantly all the time. And that was great, but there'd be dry spells. But after a while, I kind of started getting jaded a little bit. I caught myself not enjoying it as much. Right. And it can be hard because there's some of the people that are working on film sets are not always there because they love film. Some of them are there because they want to make money and have to pay off debt. And some of them are there because they got into it and that's what they do now. And some are there because they love movies, and you know what I mean? Yeah. So there's all sorts of types. And I started finding myself feeling jaded about it for different reasons. And it's like, I realized in that moment, oh my gosh, like I'm a filmmaker. I'm supposed to be making movies. I learned how to do this. Yeah. And so that's sort of what started the trajectory of then me writing a bunch of shorts, and with my buddy Rick, who was a sound electrician with me, like we started making stuff, and it just kind of like tumbled forward with more people joining the teams. And then it's true though, me knowing how to do all those things made it possible at like a low budget level to either do it if we couldn't afford someone, or to know if someone wasn't doing what they should be doing, or I don't know, it kind of gave us more ability to control getting the product done. And,
it's fascinating because you've been able to, like you said, and been able to sort of work into different areas. And something we'll talk about tonight is about some filmmaking. I know both you and Lava have done some different filmmaking, and recently, though, you went on a fairly long road trip. We want to talk about that tonight. We're going to have on John Courage. He wasn't able to be on tonight. We are going to talk about the video that you two made, and with John. John again wasn't able to be on. He's taking care of family, but tell everyone a little bit about the road trip. And we talked a little bit about before the show about getting through Wyoming, and Lava wants a different experience next time with Wyoming, right? It was not fun for you, I guess.
I was a little scared.
Right.
Wyoming was a little, the timing wasn't so great. We just happened to get there during incredible windstorm, and
it was nuts. 65 mile an hour plus gusts, but I think when they say that, they meant like 85 plus.
it felt, we saw at least 6 semi trucks blowed over, and then other RVs.
Yeah. And they let us go through because we were, I guess, a civilian vehicle, because we were like a camper van, a 190 popular road truck. But we were probably bigger than they should have let through, because we felt like we were about to roll over too. But so the point of it is, we went on a giant road trip essentially through the West and the Pacific Northwest, back down through part of California, through Death Valley, like that, Yosemite area, and came back to New Mexico, partly because we realized that it might be our last chance before life started going back to normal again. And at that point, we both felt comfortable that we could, road trip and it wouldn't be a risk during COVID. Yeah. And so we were like, we knew how to do it. So we felt good about it. Let's go. And at the same time, kind of dovetailed, I got a song of John Courage's in my recent film that I was doing post on, called The Inheritance. I think.
Yes. The Inheritance. Yeah.
So we'll be more about that in the future. It's still sort of,
it's post-production, right?
Yeah. And it's like, it's getting very close to being where it's completed. And then there'll be more talking points on that. And I'm sure that you guys will hear more. We'll go more into that in the future. But, so one of John Courage's songs,
and
John Courage put songs in my first movie.
Yeah, that's right. He did.
And I had told him, I'll make you a music video, because it was free. So I was like, no one got paid.
Very nice of you.
The movie was for free. And I was like, but I'll make you a music video. And I just never did it. Partially just because, he lived in New Mexico. I lived in California. And then later it's like people moved around, and you know how life is. So this time when I was getting his song, I was like, oh, and I'll make you that music video finally. And he was like, oh, cool, man.
Awesome.
And but he didn't have any control over what it was going to be. He was just like, yeah, just let me know what you need me to do, which is my favorite thing. So I was talking to Lava, and I was like, okay, well, we can do whatever we want. So we just sort of were brainstorming what it could be. I don't even remember how we came up with the concept, but it's a very odd video. So I hope everyone should go see it.
Well, we're gonna show it, if that's okay. And we'll talk about it.
Please.
So we'll show the video, have everybody experience it, and then we'll talk about it. But I love this song, by the way. I've really fallen in love with John Courage's music after you mentioned, that the whole story, and sharing with my older boys who they dig his kind of music. So we'll watch it and then we'll talk about it. So.
Yeah, it's cool. And we'll let people know how to find them too and listen to them.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. Yeah. There's John Courage, which people would figure out. Blockbuster.
The Blockbuster is like a geocache phone in a way. Huh?
It is. So audio listeners will have to go back and watch this. It's really a great video. Oh, there's a little grin in it.
Yeah, Courage said that's the first time he's ever smiled in a music video.
It's got to be.
It was like I pulled it out of the edit, so like we had options without a smile too. But he liked it. It made
All
sense.
right, that was great.
Thanks. It was a lot of fun. I mean, you know,
It was. No, it was. It really was. It tells a story, and it's, not all videos I think are great. And I think that one is great. Now,
we're the stars because we had access to ourselves on this road trip.
yeah. What's funny, one person says, so that's how people get around in New Mexico. I always wondered.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. It just says so many great locations for geocaching, and I didn't place any, but I bet you there are caches and all.
Oh gosh, yeah.
It was funny making. It was like, in a weird way, it was kind of reminiscent of caching because we didn't know where we were going to be.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we knew like we'd go through these areas, and What was your thought
About what?
about how we found the locations and stuff?
We're just driving along, and we just kept our eyes peeled for anything that looked cool.
That's actually true. Yeah, that's what. So in Wyoming, so we went north through New Mexico. We shot in the Valley of Fire first, which is near this little town Carrizozo here. We did our first shoot. It was actually like a test shoot because we hadn't. I knew that the technique would work, but we hadn't tried it yet with our equipment and what I mean, like figured it out. So that was our first test shoot, and then we went through Colorado and didn't have time to shoot anything there. And then in Wyoming, we found an amazing spot, like right off the highway. We were kind of trekking along the bottom of Wyoming towards Idaho. And we found this awesome place. I can't remember. I wrote it down. I can't remember the name of it now, but it was so windy. Like we were like, oh, we can do it. So we went out there, and like I ran down into the field and found this cool shot with like a rock. And there was like this twisted old like tree, and like it was so neat. And lava was going to like jump through and go past it.
Right.
She's out there in the distance. I'm like, okay, go. This is the wind blowing me. She's like, what? I'm like, go. She's like, should I go? I'm like, go. So she starts jumping. She jumps up once and literally just blows away.
Right.
It was so windy. So we had to quit, and we were frozen and got back in the car.
Yeah. So tell everybody if you pull the curtain back a little bit as far as how the process of making it look like you're sort of floating there.
Yeah, that's just a process that has been around for a while. It was shown to me by a friend of mine in college, and I never thought to use it until now. It was almost like a gimmick for us, of a way to make it interesting and weird, like how to make these different locations cool. At one point, I threatened that it would be banjo camping and drinking coffee in different locations.
Right.
But Lava pointed out that wouldn't be a good music video. So we figured this one out instead. And so the trick is the way we did it. The big picture is you have to animate the jumps. So you'll jump and take a photo, and you want the photo at the apex of the jump. Apex meaning just like the highest. Yeah. Just because that becomes an easy thing to measure, Sure. And so we did it with rapid fire. So like we'd be like 1, 2, 3, jump, and on jump would press the button, and the other one would jump. So it'd be like tick, 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 tick. Right. Then later I'd go through and pull out the highest jump of each.
The highest jumps.
Jump. So there was a little organization to it, but on a road trip it was easy. We'd sit there driving, and I would just organize it.
Darryl wants to know how many times you made.
I know that we took over 4,000 photos altogether. It's in 6 different states, 4 weeks of shooting, and the cut ended up having 25 different scenes. Settings. So, but there was more than that didn't make the video.
Yeah.
Incredible.
And so like, people could do this at home, and I encourage it. Take your kids out in the backyard and do it. It's really fun.
Yeah.
But the idea is, and like, so like we just would stand in one spot, jump get the picture at the height of get the picture up here. Whether you can do it in one shot or you have to take many, it's however. And then when you land, you just take a little baby step forward and do it again.
Do it again.
Do it again
That's
and again,
awesome.
and again and again until you're off. And then you put it in some sort of editing system and just turn those still images into frames, basically. Because that's all a movie is multiple images put together.
Sure.
So,
Oh, yeah.
it creates that animated look, and it's really fun. It's easy to do. I recommend people try it with their kids. It's super fun. My right knee hurt so bad by the end, though. I gotta tell you, dude, I know that I'm getting older now because my knee, and that's the same right knee I hurt being a set electrician, actually. So it's kind of this, I'm learning now. Through as you get older, you get these reoccurring injuries. But yeah, I was kind of beat up by the end. I think Lava too. We did a lot of jumps, and it was especially hard. Like when we were in the Pacific Northwest. So we went through, Wyoming and Idaho. She wanted to visit Lava Hot Springs. So that was like her little geocache.
Well, of course, her name's Lava, so.
Yeah. And then we went through, basically shot through Portland, saw a friend, and then went to the Pacific Northwest. And we were there for probably like a week up in the Olympic Peninsula, just kind of kicking around.
Oh, that's a neat area.
All my jumps. So I really got my knee hurting there.
Right.
We came through. Yeah. We went down through the redwoods and then to Santa Rosa where Courage is and shot him. And then we went through Yosemite and Death Valley. Yosemite was snowed up so much we couldn't shoot anything. We couldn't really jump. So we tried and we just like disappeared into the snow. But then we went to Death Valley and that was mostly her. So then she got beat up. But
right,
it was cool. It's not at all geocaching, but I do feel like the looking for the shot, because we had to find what's our shot going to be.
Oh, absolutely.
And adding that to the road trip, it kind of had some sort of similar vibe to it,
Well,
something else.
Yeah, I mean that's something you and I talked about the other day was, and there's a lot of similarities, and I think that one of the things that you and I both agreed on that we wanted to try to convey to all the geocachers and non-geocachers that happen to watch or listen to the show is that getting out, sometimes geocachers surprisingly will not get out and just drive and go and do things like that and get out into nature, as it were. I mean, was that? Go ahead, Jesse.
Just wander. That's the part we miss a lot of times, and I'm still fascinated with how you planned your trip and how much you knew you were going to hit beforehand and how much you found. But that is, whether you're a geocacher or not, that's the spirit of geocaching, right? Get out, play, explore. That's the deal.
Yeah, as far as the itinerary, we knew that we were going to go through Colorado because there's some family there to visit. And then we just kind of would look at the map a day or two in advance, I think, and just kind of look at the route we should take to get. We knew we were going to the Olympic Peninsula. That was sort of like the main goal to get there. So then we just started looking at, where do we want to go on the way? Okay, we'll visit Colorado because family. Well, we might as well, do we want to go through Utah or Wyoming? And we were debating it. So we decided we haven't seen Wyoming, so we went north through Wyoming.
Yeah.
Then we got stuck in, where did we get stuck? Laramie?
Yeah.
We got stuck in Laramie because the wind was so bad. We had to stop. So we stayed at a KOA. We love KOAs now.
That's funny.
And we'd be in the van. There was nothing to do. It was so windy, so dusty. We just had to stay in the van. So we got really used to me and Lava and the dog all crammed into the van. It would just be like hanging out in the van and it'd be like,
oh my gosh, it hit you. Yeah.
Literally like that. It's so crazy.
That's how our trip started.
Yeah. Which is good. It's like we got it out of the way. And then everything after that was much easier.
Yeah.
So she knew she wanted to go to Lava Hot Springs. So that's, we knew we could go through Utah or go. So we picked Wyoming, which even though, and this is sort of, we talked about this pre-show, but maybe we can get into this now. But wow, my hair's nuts. But welcome to my life. Welcome. But there was a little bit of a go with the flow attitude to it, where we knew we wanted to get somewhere, and we were just kind of like, we'll figure it out. And if in that moment we didn't have the answer, we knew we would. Even the music video was that way. We didn't know, like the thing with the torn paper and the hearts.
Yeah,
I was trying to figure out, how do we go from John Courage being introduced at the top of the video? It's his song. We should introduce him first.
Right.
How do we get from him to us? Because it's going to be such a weird, random thing. And I was like, well, maybe he like drops something and it falls into our world. And, it eventually just morphed itself into this idea of like the two hearts go together, because then that oh well, that's how we'll bring it back together.
Right.
I didn't know all that when we set out. I didn't even know that when we shot like half of the jumps. Maybe, we were kind of making it up as we went. Same with the road trip. I think. Yeah, I think we figured it out in the Olympic Peninsula. I think about the hearts. I think, but
that is incredible. That's something that is fascinating. We talked about before, and you both have some we probably won't be able to get to tonight. We got so much to cover, but Lava, you also are a filmmaker, and so it's kind of neat. Is this your first experience filming with John? Is this your first time? Because you've filmed before. You've done films before. And you've done some stop motion before too, right?
Yeah, I do a lot of stop motion on my own, and it's kind of what we incorporated, because I play with a lot of taking photos and stop motion a lot, and and if you notice, John Courage also has clips where he's actually doing kind of stop motion, because that's where he's when he comes in and leaves.
Oh, right.
Those are all photographs in that video.
That's cool.
Someone asked what frame rate.
A couple geeks wanted to know the.
It was 24. Feel free to ask those questions if you see them.
Yeah, no, that's good. It's funny. The vloggers are asking these questions, by the way.
I like that. Yeah, no, we operated at 24 frames a second, just because I generally like that. It just looks like the theater. It just looks better to me in general.
Sure.
But sometimes it depended on the animation, because we would get the photos, but it was based on like the distance to us and how many tiny steps we took. Like there was one where I kind of jumped between the lake and that kind of weird big tree, and I go back around behind it. Watch the video. That one I had to pull frames out of because there were too many jumps that we had done, and like it looked weird and too slow and jittery when you work the tree. So I had to actually pull some out. And then there were other times that I had to like add frames, and maybe it was getting closer to 12 seconds instead of 12 frames instead of 24. It all operated in a 24 frames a second video.
Right.
The animations might have been. It's traditional for animation 12 frames.
Oh, okay.
So double frames that happens a lot in like faster paced animation.
Oh, really? Okay. Oh, that's interesting.
Probably done that way.
Yeah, Scott. He lives in California, which is where you used to live. But Scott wanted to know what camera were you using?
It's my Canon 60D. It's my old school one, because the battery life lasts forever. And
and she has a lens baby that was on it,
and a Holga.
Yeah,
I was going to use
I jumped on her.
I can't answer. Sorry. And I was going to say, yes, this is my first time working with John in a movie. That was my first film project with him. But yeah, it was a Canon 60D. It's old school, and it's my lens baby composer, and it's also a Holga lens. That those are the two lenses we used for the video.
Very cool.
We both shot Courage, so when we were filming him singing, we used also my Sony A7S Mark II.
Oh, very cool. Yeah.
So those parts we shot in slow motion. No, we shot. Did you shoot in slow motion for that? No.
I was doing
most of the video was my A7S, because I was able to shoot in slow motion, and then she did the photo animations of like him walking up at the beginning and the end with her camera.
Very cool.
Yeah,
those are neat. All right, we're gonna switch gears a little bit. We got a couple different gears to switch into tonight. That was first gear. We're switching into second gear now, I guess you could say. Not a car guy, but I understand. I understand gears.
That's good. That's okay.
I used to own a Standard, so I kind of know a little bit. Back in the day, the old Standard. I don't think you can buy a Standard anymore. But anyway,
you absolutely can.
Can you really?
I went to Colorado to buy a Standard.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh,
what did you get?
I got a retro Forester, Subaru Forester.
Oh yeah.
I go off roading a lot, so that's what I want.
Yeah, my Jeep's still Standard, so.
Very cool. Okay, there you go. So Lava.
Yeah.
Meow Wolf. I want to talk about a project that you've spent some time on. Meow Wolf is currently in two spots, and there's one in Santa Fe that we're going to go visit this summer. Gosh, not too many weeks, and then one in Vegas. Yay! But you really worked on that one a lot.
Yes.
So, Ed, I know this is difficult, but I know you can do it. can you explain what Meow Wolf even is for people?
I would say the best way to kind of figure it out, it's an art collective. It is a group of various types of artists, whether their medium is filmmaking or sculpture or whatever. There's just a big collaboration of a lot of different type of artists to work on one particular story, but it's really abstract. Like, that's the easiest way to put it, but it is not an easy process, but that's what makes it so amazing. It's really cool. I love Meow Wolf.
Yeah, they're a group of artists from Santa Fe. It started there. And, you were saying that they kind of got together because there was the feeling of exclusion in the art scene, you know?
Right.
So they were like, well, we'll make our own art scene.
And they did. Yeah.
Yeah, when I lived in Santa Fe, I don't remember, they hadn't started making any sort of interactive exhibits when I was there, I don't think. It was more of like they would throw parties and I think have showings and stuff of their work, if I recall. But
wow. Yeah, so one of our we had LA on that. LA was on our show last week, but she has a geocat and his name is Wolf. So there is a real Meow Wolf. So his name's Wolf. So I want to show a little bit, because Meow Wolf in Vegas is completely different than Meow Wolf in Santa Fe, but it is talk about, and something we'll have to talk about someday, is it would be cool if it was treated like, I bet if you Meow Wolf folks make a geocache, it would be, oh yes.
it would be nuts.
Yes. Well, that's what I was thinking was, if we could somehow talk to headquarters and see if we could treat Meow Wolf like a library, because you can place caches inside of a library. So if we could somehow convince them that Meow Wolf is like a library, we could actually have a geocache put somewhere hidden, because there's so many things inside the Omega Mart. It's called the Omega Mart, and it is the most surreal experience. I'm sure I've seen some video. You walk through refrigerators. The stuff on the. Can you actually buy the stuff in Omega Mart, Lava?
Yeah, you can. Yep.
Oh,
You
wow.
can buy some of the most bizarre stuff. I want to show.
John and I just went yesterday. We just got back today from Las Vegas.
From Vegas, okay.
So I'm a little tired, but John is going to bring some of the stuff that we got there. Here's my cereal.
Oh, very cool. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
There it is.
But
You
it's
can buy
actually-
that. Simply Spiders.
Simply does not contain spiders.
Simply
That's
Spiders.
funny.
Right.
Here's dram cake mix.
Not
So these are like white labels you can really buy. So it's really
not dream cake, but dram cake.
makes one really big cake or hundreds of really small ones.
That's funny.
It's awesome.
So where is this in Vegas?
It's called Area 15, and that's a new building. We just went to it yesterday, and we just got to go to Omega Mart, and that was it was really fun. I was the production coordinator for all the video content, which if you're in either Meow Wolf, Santa Fe, or the one in Vegas, the videos actually are telling you a story.
Yes.
Very cool.
Here we go. Here's a little bit of Omega Mart.
Hell of the hose.
Oh, you walked
Oh,
right
wow.
in.
Literally mine.
Just walk through the refrigerator into a whole different world.
Yeah, anytime you want to stop Lava, just call her here and stop it. If you want to talk about it. Look at that.
That is awesome. Tattoo chicken.
Meow and wolf. And all that set up, oh my gosh, it's crazy.
It's very interactive. That's what I like.
Yeah.
So it's meant for people to crawl all through and touch everything. It's not one of those stuffy, you can't touch this, only places.
But everything you're interacting with, and if you watch the videos in the exhibits, are telling you a story. And you can either get involved into the story or not, but there is a whole theme to both of them.
Yeah, there's like it's amazing. There's like clues and stuff where it's like there was a guy I saw in there who had because like there'll be like a desk, right? You'll find like an employee's desk or something, and there'll be like papers on it that are part of the exhibit, and he's like methodically taking notes,
Right.
Because it's like there's codes and stuff hidden that you'll need somewhere else to like open something, and like there's active phones that you can pick up, and you can dial and reach like voicemails and like
it's so fun.
And like the phone will ring and someone will be there sometimes. Like it's really crazy.
And
it's like a psychedelic escape room. Yeah.
Yes, it is. Well, if you watch the videos, I'm just a little plug here. I'm also a character in the Omega Mart. My name is Karen. And if you go to their Instagram page, I'm in the last week of videos.
Yeah. There's stuff. I watched a video one guy did of just some random stuff he was walking through, but he stopped for a minute and did a little bit of this video, and the video is like telling you about a Mega Mart, but then it's kind of not telling you about a Mega Mart. So it's kind of this melange of text of speech of different things. It's like, whoa, it's hard to explain unless you see. Well, you saw it. I mean, it's just it's such an incredible explosion of things to your senses.
Well, here's what's really funny about this. So we haven't even really talked about geocaching yet, but both of these things are so the spirit of geocaching, a psychedelic escape room and a road trip that is kind of almost unplanned. That is, you can't get more geocaching without talking about geocaching. And I know we're going to get to the geocaching part, right? But I mean, that's just perfect. I mean, it's both of those topics we could talk about forever with the people we're talking with, because, and you know, the whole audience and everything else, because that is exactly the spirit of exploration that get us into this game.
I think it's actually why geocache always was on my radar as something interesting to me. You know, I can't say I'm an avid geocacher. I can't say I've done a ton of it, but like exactly like you're saying, it's very much in the wheelhouse of the stuff I love.
Yeah. It's just the fun, quirky hobby, you know, that you don't have to find a million of them to be a geocacher. You find one and know what it is, and you're a geocacher. Yeah. And you can do it at any time in your life that you want to do it. So it's kind of a fun hobby to play wherever you are.
Yeah.
How about if you just place one? Am I officially a geocacher?
Yes, you are. And we're going to talk about that because she has placed one. We're going to talk about that, and we're going to show. We'll get into the video, and so why don't we'll switch gears. I someday though, Lava, we got to come back and talk more about Meow Wolf, especially after I've been there.
Yeah.
And what's funny is that one of our network folks is mentioning in the chat room that he does a thing on Friday nights. He has a vlog show, I guess you could say, that he does on Friday nights. And Jeff with Cache the Line, he's up in Ontario, Canada, and he says a Mega Mart was mentioned during his TGIF event on Friday. And he'd never heard of it before, but now, of course, he has. And then the CFO, which is Jesse's
that's my wife. She's in the background.
She says, I've heard about this in Vegas, so I'm sure y'all are. And
yeah, we go out there very frequently, so we'll be attending the one in Vegas for sure.
You definitely should get tickets ahead of time.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I need to. I can get my tickets for Santa Fe. I'll do that very soon.
In a room and there's like kind of kaleidoscopy lights, and it looks like it's just kind of like undulating. But if you get close and look, it's actually all of this like very tiny, thin cut paper that's been lit up by LEDs that are shifting, and like when you start noticing,
so cool.
Like the amount of work that went into it is nuts. And Lava would know because she was a part of the video creation.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean now you're coming from the other direction, Lava. You can vlog. Oh, what did Tom say? Tom's part of our network too. Do you have time for the cache creation night? This is not, yes, we do. Yes, Tom.
We still have time. We're gonna not run out of time, but yeah,
we're gonna submit.
Everybody's fascinated with it. We've already brought up two fascinating topics. We hadn't even talked about geocaching.
I know.
Which is great. You know, who cares? That's awesome.
But what's great is that Lava can now come at it from a different angle. Instead of being a geocacher and then trying to learn the video log side of things, we have some great vloggers in the geocaching community. We have some on part of our network Jeff and Derek are really good at that. Charles, part of our other another show that we have as well. But you get to come in from the other side. You're the filmmaker that's learning the geocaching side. So now you can kind of, film your geocaches and put them out there for people to see. And so anyway, exciting stuff. So I think what we'll do is Jesse, what do you think? Should we show the video first and then walk John through the submittal, or should we submit?
Sure. Because the live submittal using somebody else's computer system live on air, there's no chance anything can go wrong. So
right, of course,
let's do the video first.
Let's do the video first. So John sent me some snippets of he and Lava putting together the cache. So this is just a fun little montage of things they put together for this. So let's show the video first, and then we'll submit it.
They said yes. So, Lava, have you ever geocached before?
This is my first time. I have never geocached.
Lava's never geocached, and her first experience geocaching is going to start by placing a cache, which will be pretty cool. So we're here at the Bolin's Running Indian, just kind of, I think, between Deming and Las Cruces, New Mexico.
Yes.
And check out this cool car. The Running Indians is like a chain of kind of like a Love's would be, like a kind of like a gas station-y stop.
Yep.
But they have tons of chachi kind of stuff for sale inside. One of which we bought and put into the cache, which is it's a New Mexico bottle opener. So whoever finds it first is going to get that. We're over here hiding it somewhere by the Bolin Indian sign. Actually, neither of us have placed a cache before.
I don't even know what I'm doing.
Yeah, we're gonna figure out a place to hide this. So, kind of what happens is we're gonna give coordinates for it, but then often there'll be like a little description of where it's hidden.
Talking to the video.
I guess we can't really do it back behind there just because of it's fenced off, but we could do it here just right under it. Maybe we can get some rocks and just build a little cover over it or something.
Place it. Do they ever alert you when someone finds it?
That's a great question. We'll have to ask the guys on the show. I don't know. I've never left one before. Do you want to sign this or anything? Wow, this is already melting in the sun, basically. So hot. Good thing it'll be where it's going to be put. Okay, we're going to place.
All right.
You want to do the honors?
Sure. I am closing the Pelican case. Good luck. I hope you find it.
And then I cut it off because I want to give all the spoilers for it.
Yeah,
cut it off.
Spoilers.
Where did she put the cache? Where is it?
I just want to point out, I really like that after showing the music video that's so cool looking, you can see how horribly I can shoot stuff too. Yeah.
There was a lot of neck shots in there,
It's because I was like trying to hold stuff and Oh,
No, you're good.
It was audio mostly. Anyway.
It's interesting because neither one of you have hidden a cache before, and this is your first one, and no pressure, just do it live in front of a bunch of people. But there's already, and we haven't asked any questions about it yet, but there's already from the video a lot of things you've done right that a lot of people mess up on their first caches, and we'll kind of get into those. But
cool.
You did ask a question, which was, how do you know when somebody finds it? And for people that have never hidden a cache before, you wouldn't have seen this side of it. But anytime you hide one, it's posted on the site. So anytime somebody makes a log online, you get an email saying, Gary found your cache, or Gary couldn't find your cache, or whatever. And with one cache out there, you'll get emails. As you have more, it kind of snowballs, right? Mm-hmm. So one cache is easy to manage. Hundreds of caches are less easy to manage, obviously, but it's one of the best things that you'll find out is like maybe that family that we were talking about earlier on picks that cache for their 200th milestone and goes and writes a neat little story, and you get that whole story sent to you.
Oh, that's
cool. The coolest part of the game that you haven't gotten into yet because you've never hidden a cache.
That's
and
cool.
You'll find some really neat, depending on what you hide, right? If you hide at a cool location, you get cool stories.
Yeah.
But one of the best parts of the game is finding out that a family or what, well, for me, I mean, it's different for everybody, right? But it's finding out that a family chose that on their holiday or their vacation or as a milestone, and they really had a lot of fun doing it. And they send you this whole story and pictures too. Like you might have a picture of the whole family or whatever. And that's a whole part of caching that unless people hide geocaches, they never get into that side of the story.
Right.
And it's hopefully you'll really enjoy that side of it.
Yeah, I feel like I will. That's really neat.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I love that. Yeah, I could
Yeah.
see 100, you'd have to open your own email account for that specifically or something.
Some people do. Whatever account
Yeah.
you have on geocaching.com, that's where they'll go. But you can always change your account. On
If you get to
geocaching.com.
hide in a bunch, you may want to make sure it's a different account than your normal standard email that you get your important emails in, because it can be.
Yeah.
Can be a lot. Can be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if we won't get tonight, but yeah, Jesse's got one. He has a virtual hidden at the oldest active geocache in the world, so he's probably getting one a day.
Wow.
No,
And when
I got 3,000 a couple weekends ago, but
Well, that's because everybody was out there.
but that was a weird thing for a big event. I hit a lot of caches for this event, so there was
That's true. You
a
did
couple
get all
thousand people in
those.
town one weekend, so I got thousands of emails. But that's not your standard.
That's not
so
standard.
that will not happen off of one. I promise you.
No.
So-
That's also, I bet, amazing to see how many people are actually doing it too. That's
oh
really-
yeah.
That's
And
fun.
the one with that Gary mentioned, the virtual that I have out there, it's kind of one we did as a group, but there's a memorial plaque there for the oldest cache in the world. And people go there a lot and they make big trips to go to this cache. And then now they have a cool place. And part of it is you take your picture in front of it every time. So just seeing people there, posing in front of the sign and got their big smiles on their face, because this is like the culmination of their trip. That's a really neat thing.
That's really cool. Well, I'm excited for that to start to happen. We were saying it'd be fun to drive by because we'll drive. It's one that I drive by all the time.
Right.
Location, if I'm road tripping, and so it'll be fun to stop and to see who signed it too. Like, it's
Which
so-
is
Oh,
already
absolutely.
another thing you've done right. You have easy access to it, right? So if
Yeah,
something goes
easy
wrong-
access.
Yeah, and
Get it-
the container
get
was great.
container.
Y'all chose a
Yes.
great container to start off. People tend to choose. I don't want to be mean. Some people don't think about that ahead of time, and they put out terrible containers for kids to find. And that's a whole other show that we talk about a lot. But there's a lot of things that are just really not appropriate to be left out in the wild. Even though they'll technically contain a piece of paper, that doesn't mean it's a good container for a family-friendly game, right?
like a
So,
nuclear waste drum or something.
Right.
yeah,
There you go.
I've seen
That's-
some.
There you go.
Well, there's some things that are like it seems really good at the time until you think about the weather, and things will get rusty and cut kids' fingers, and that's terrible.
Oh, that's a good point.
Altoid tins that aren't painted. Altoid tins, if they're not painted, they'll rust, and so
Yeah.
those are bad.
Yeah, you
Oh,
don't
you can
leave those
imagine.
in the desert. That's not going to go well. So
No.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
it's funny because I specifically brought a pencil that we could cut down to put in it, and
Yeah.
I put it in the car with me when we left, and then our road trip turned into a weird series of things not going as planned, but in a great way. Like
In a great way.
go with the flow.
that's the best.
that's right.
But so we ended up stopping there to get a pencil, and I walked in and asked them if they had pencils, and they're like, "No, we don't have pencils." And I was like, "Oh man." So she hadn't been in a running Indian net anyway, so we're like, "Well, let's check it out," because she likes tchotchke stuff like me. So we're like
Yeah.
walking around, and then the people working there really realized we really were looking for some sort of small pen or pencil. And then they started really getting on the hunt with us. So then they started caching that. And they found these 2 Route 66 pencils that were in like a little thing somewhere that were for sale.
Oh,
that they
perfect.
existed. So that's what we used. Yeah.
Well, what's cool is it was kind of similar to our music video that when we started the road trip on Friday, we didn't know where we were going to put the cache. So, and then when we were there, he thought this would be a great place. So it was kind of spontaneous.
Well, I think we almost left after getting the pencils, and then it just sort of, suddenly made sense. I think
Mhm.
partially we were like, let's not stop again. Let's just do it here. But it was a good spot,
Oh gosh.
nice there too.
Yeah. So we went in and asked the lady who had helped us find the pencil, nice lady who at least manages it, I guess. I don't know. And she was like, "Oh yeah." I don't think she quite understood what I was explaining that we were doing, but she was like, "Yeah, that's great. Go for it."
And we have been to Buc-ee's. I saw that.
Yes, Tom
Yeah.
says they've been to Buc-ee's. Of course they've been to Buc-ee's. Are you kidding me?
These guys
love
were
it.
instrumental in getting a bumper sticker for Lava that says "Beaver Believer." Actually,
That's right.
she had one on her car that she sold when she got her Forester. She needed a new one, and when I went through, they were all sold out. So
Yep.
I love Buc-ee's. It's so fun.
Yes.
Well, and
Yeah,
we
I
kind of
found
glossed over one thing that y'all really did right, which is ask for permission to
Oh.
make your hide, right? That is so huge, and so many people skip over that step so often.
And it wasn't that.
Kudos. Yeah.
Oh yeah, huge kudos to you. So what was it? So people well, there's a good time tonight because a lot of people don't take the time. I mean, it wasn't a big deal, right, John? You just asked them where you.
No, I mean, I had the advantage that they'd already been so helpful. I could tell they were really friendly. And I was just more worried that I would place it and then somehow they would either see it or find it and throw it away before we even
Right.
did.
Right.
That would be tragic. Perfect. So, but yeah, I mean, the worst that'll happen is people say no, I guess, right? I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
That's the thing. That's what people need to do. Just ask. You will. A lot of times, it's all you have to do. So, yeah, no.
We're like that. It's good. If people are stopping for that, then they're probably going to go say, "Hey, what tchotchke were they talking about in the store?"
Mm-hmm.
Like, wow, look at the awesome horse riding cowboy that's jumping over. Like, I don't know. There's like so much.
Yeah. Well, something
that's how you find those places. So many times, my wife and I go out and we don't know where we're going, and we'll just go. We say we know we have until this time to be back. And in Colorado, you can go and explore, right? And a lot of times we'll find something because of a geocache, some little cool diner on the side of the road or stuff like that we never would have probably come across if we weren't out just randomly exploring. And that's the best, when you find something that you didn't even know was going to be there.
Exactly. And that's really awesome. Yeah. So
it's missing now because now that we navigate everywhere with our phones, we don't stop. We just know where we're going, so that's actually a good point. That's cool.
That's a good point. Yeah. And so that's perfect. And like you said, in fact, as we do the submittal of the geocache, something if you want to put in the description is you can tell them, or in the description, you can't mention the location per se. You can
the business. You can't
mention the business. We can skirt around it a little bit and get it in there. It'll be approved. But you can put in the description though, place by permission. Please go in and tell them, that you appreciate them allowing you to put a cache or whatever. Yeah. And people appreciate. I know I've got one at the chamber and here in town, and I get the chamber people telling me all the time that people are coming by and appreciate that. And I say, well, they're in town, Chamber of Commerce, so I'm pushing them to do some other stuff as well. But I want people to know, I want them to realize that business is coming to their area. So kudos to you for that. So all right, let's get into the
go for the live submission, and it'll work out perfect.
It will.
No problem.
So you got geocaching.com pulled up, right, John?
I do.
Okay. I don't know if can you share your screen?
Try.
At
the bottom there should be a little share.
There's a little share button in the middle next to the cog. Middle of the screen next to.
I've got the share screen. Oh, there we go. It didn't click for some reason.
That's okay.
Share screen. Select window.
Yes. Select
entire screen. Is that what I should do?
You can do entire
or a window if you have it in a separate window.
Yeah, if you have a separate window of it.
Pull it into one then. Oh. I'm sure this is the most exciting moment for.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, they'll bear with us for a minute so we can get it pulled up to do a.
While John's working on that, some things we did beforehand is he did check the coordinates himself. He knew that there was no cache within 0.1. In the U.S., we use miles, so 528 feet. He checked that. I went ahead and double checked for him as well. Just he sent me the coordinates, and so I was able to. Yep. So we double checked. There's no cache within the radius, so that's good news.
It's in place.
It's
got swag in it. Permission. All good to go.
That part is great. So.
It says this browser can't access your screen. Try capturing a different screen.
Oh, well, okay.
Maybe do the whole.
Yeah, so that
if you don't show, that's okay. We can walk you through it.
Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna try again.
If not, like I said, we can talk through it with you.
Well, like we said, what could possibly go wrong with live experimentation of software online?
It's true. Yeah, I'm gonna try just do my. Nope.
Yeah, we don't want to lose you though, so definitely don't. Yeah, if not, that's okay. We'll walk you through it. We'll tell the story as we go. So
Yeah, it doesn't want to. I can try real quick pulling up Chrome and seeing if that'll solve it. Let me just try that real quick.
On a separate one, sure, that's fine.
Okay. Yeah. If not, what we'll do is we'll just kind of over narrate it, right? And we'll talk about the parts that you're going through. And the first time you ever submit one, it seems really foreign. It just seems like you haven't seen that side of it. You found geocaches, but you haven't seen the side, and once you submit it, here's the other really neat thing that it's almost go overboard with it, but you want to wait until you're just excited for somebody to be the first one to find it.
Oh yeah, that's always the great part.
And that's the fun part. Oh, looks like we lost them there.
Lost for a minute. That's okay.
Yeah, here they go. They're coming back in now.
Yep.
There we go.
Okay. And
they're back.
No problem.
But yeah, once you hide your first cache, the first thing you're waiting on then is for that first person to go find it. And it may be 30 minutes and it may be 3 weeks. And you just don't know.
And what's so as Tom said, he goes, waiting for cache to publish is like waiting for Christmas. Waiting for someone to find your cache for the first time is like Christmas. Basically, geocaching is Christmas. I like that. It's great. All right, so let's go ahead and you don't have to worry about sharing it, John. We'll get right into it. So go to play. I guess you've already done part of it. You went to play, you went to hide a cache, you got to the coordinates.
Yes. Now I'm at traditional cache, so I can hit that, and then it says the exact coordinates.
Yep.
And I was asking you guys if there's a trick to typing it out, and you said no. Just what I would do is I put the north. I put an N, at least. Okay, I got it. So you can explain north. Okay. Yeah. N32. It's like one N32, no space, and then I have space.
Then space. Then the
0.790.
Right.
Do I put the what do you call that? Comma? No. What do you call it?
You know, just a space and then west or W.
Okay, space W107 space 0.345.
Yep. So we're putting it down there below.
And when you hit that, for anybody that has never done this before, it'll check and make sure it's a good location.
Confirming coordinates. Are you sure? It's pretty far away.
Yeah, so what it's asking you is, do you realize this is far away from your house, for maintenance issues and everything else? Yeah. So
I guess
it's not really.
Yeah, which
you can say, okay.
That's just a check. They have a lot of built-in checks like that. Just, if you a lot of people will accidentally switch the coordinates sometimes, and it'll be like in Asia and they live here, and you'll be like, are you sure this is where you want to put it?
That's funny. Okay, so now it's asking waypoints optional. I don't really think it needs any. I think it's pretty self-evident when you get there.
Also, you can when you got that screen too, John, double check and make sure it looks like it's in the right spot. Now
it did.
Okay, good. Yeah, because
that's good.
Because I checked it as well as you did, and I think we're all good. Somebody mentioned by putting 2 zeros. I don't think
you don't have to.
Right. Okay, go ahead.
Show me that on the app when I screen grabbed where I was.
Well,
yeah.
So I just wrote down exactly what the Geocache app was showing.
Exactly.
Me.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Geocache name. So I had to scrap the name because I can't mention the business. So
you can kind of mention it. I mean,
yeah, you just can't. The only thing it is there's a rule about commercial advertising, right? So what they really don't want is people to use geocaches to advertise their business or anything else. So
gotcha.
So it's
a Bolin's Running Indian, and it's kind of at the foot of something. So what if I call it like running footer or something like that?
Yeah. Or at the foot of the Indian, or there's the guy right there, Bolin's Running Indian.
Bolin's foot, would that be okay?
Yeah, that would work.
That's fine.
It's not gonna. It's okay to have the name there. What you just don't want to do is say like you have to go inside and buy something. To get the cash or anything like that. That's when they would balk on that one, because it's really not supposed to be an advertisement for a business, which naming it something is not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I got all that in there now. Where did I write my? Okay, so I've got a description here that I wrote. You can tell me if it's not eloquent enough or something. But I've got I wrote, these locations are an iconic chain for me. I grew up near one, and they are so unique to the Southwest. Look for the cache covered with white rocks. Please be sure to cover it back up with rocks when done so the sun does not destroy the plastic cache.
Yep.
This cache was placed with permission, so please consider stopping into the store and letting them know you're there for the cache. Is that what I should say?
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfectly okay. You're not telling them they have to. You're just saying, hey, say thanks.
Exactly.
Yeah. And if you want to, you can always describe the because you're not trying to really trick people with this, right? So you know, sometimes it's good. It's pretty flat terrain, right? So you're not okay. And you can describe the container if you want to, because y'all bought a good container. So you know, people should, it's always good to give people, especially if you're trying to make it easy for people to find, a good idea of what they're looking for.
So should I say like near this thing, like if it's near something really obvious, or let that just be up to them?
I think they can find it.
Yeah, that's where you, if you want to, you can put that in the hint. That'll be the next section you have. If you want to give them like some really good hints of where it would be, which I know you're not making it hard anyway, but some people have trouble finding, you know, caches, or it's kids that are doing it, and it's always okay to put a hint in there.
Yeah, I bet the rocks will be enough of a hint, probably.
I would suspect so.
Not a whole lot going on there. Okay.
So you can add to the hint.
Yeah, they were saying the same thing. Add to the hint. But yeah, that's a good description.
Yeah,
it tells them what they're looking for. You know, have fun. Tells them that they're safe to. The good thing about putting the fact that you have permission in the description is people don't have to feel like they're sneaking around as much, right? Like they can feel free to just wander around and try to find it.
Okay.
Some suggestions too, John, is you don't have to really tell them what kind of rocks or anything like that. You just tell them to cover it back up. I mean, that's up to you.
Yeah. So just finding our way is saying he's a little bit concerned about the commercial content. So when in the line where it says stop in the store, if you want to try to skirt that, you can always say stop in and say thank you or whatever it was. Just take the store line out of it, and I think you're pretty good then.
Yeah.
Because then it's not telling it that you have to. It's just saying stop in, tell them thank you or whatever. You're not telling them they have to do it. It's totally optional.
Yeah.
Okay, so this cache was placed with permission, so feel free to give them a friendly hello or something.
Yeah.
That's good.
And the worst that'll happen if the reviewer comes back and goes, "This is too close," just say, "This is my first one. How should I do it?" They're really good about telling you. Just change it a little bit like this. So even if this comes back with some error, the reviewers really want these to be out there and be published because they're cachers too. And if you just say, "Okay, you know, can you help me tweak it a little bit?" They absolutely will. They're not just going to go like, "You messed it up. You can never place another cache again."
Which part, just finding our way, are you saying that which part was commercial content? Because we can get help because we actually have
anything different.
We have a reviewer that's helping that's on tonight.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
So, not for that state, but
and it's pretty different per area too, because I mean they're pretty strict on the commercial guideline thing, but you know, I've seen many times where they say this was placed with permission of the owner and stuff like that, but yeah, they don't want you to try to be advertising anything.
Gotcha.
Oh, okay.
It's the go inside part.
Just requires the finder to do any of the following: go inside a business, interact. Okay, so we'll just take that part out.
Yeah. They'll probably go in. It's definitely a tourist trap.
We'll just take that part out. That's
absolutely
good.
Yeah.
That's good to know. That's good.
I would say it was placed with permission. How about that?
That's good. Saying it was placed for permission, that's perfect. And that's all. Like you said, if they're there, they're more likely going to go in. And at least I'll tend to go in and say, you know, thanks. You know.
Yeah, and you know. Usually when you're hiding your first cache, you don't have a live reviewer talking to you and helping you out. So you have a little advantage tonight. There's reviewers in the audience right now.
It's pretty rad. I like that.
You like that? Yeah.
Yeah, it's neat.
Don't we all need that every time we hide a cache? Just a live reviewer online just to help us out. I need that
when I just like go to the grocery.
This is not going to happen for all of your caches, John. I'm sorry, but this is
that's what you think.
Yeah,
that's what
everybody was saying. That's the going inside part is what kind of would trip that alarm. So that's cool that you got that out of there.
I don't think I can post it into the comments for you to see for some reason, but it's okay. I'll read it one more time to make sure we're not missing something. Okay. These locations are an iconic chain for me. I grew up near one, and they are so unique to the Southwest. This is oh, good thing I read it. This is a gravelly, dusty parking area, so plenty of room to park and no reason to be worried to be there.
Yeah.
This, the cache is, wow, it's good I'm reading this because I wrote a really terrible thing. The cache is a small black and clear pelican case. Be sure to cover it back up when done so the sun does not destroy the plastic cache. This cache was placed with permission. And under the hint, I put, look for the cache covered with whitish rocks.
That is a great description.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
I've got my co-pilot. He's
There he is. Hey.
I'll stop and look at the doggo.
He's cute.
Oh, that is a cute dog.
He's a good boy.
He's been part of the
He
Memphis
is big,
Mafia, which is Jesse's family, for 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks now. So just as a matter of fact,
2
today,
weeks?
2 weeks.
Is he causing any issues at all?
I mean, he's a puppy, right?
Yeah.
So the good news is, so with a big puppy, you get big stuff, right? But he was potty trained quite quickly, so we didn't have to. That wasn't a bad issue. But when you increase the size of the dog, everything is increased. So the size of everything is increased, but the drool, the messes, everything. But he's been really good. So
all right. He's really cute. So I'm on the difficulty part. I'm going to put difficulty is 1.5. It shouldn't be hard, I don't think.
Even if you think, too, John, this is kind of another thing, is that do you think that somebody in a wheelchair could find it?
It's pretty flat.
I think so.
The reason I say that is
Like the
because
whole parking lot was gravel, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I think it was.
It's
pretty,
like New Mexico.
I
dirt
think
gravel.
maybe, yeah. I think it's doable, especially if they weren't like a wheelchair that had to be on like a real gymnasium floor or something. I think
right, because we've had some folks on who
it's basically a parking lot.
Yeah, which we have a friend who's a cashier who has helped us. We even did a show about that, and he wants folks to put the one difficulty attribute whenever possible.
Gotcha.
As long as they feel that it's a 1, then they want them to.
Yeah, but don't forget, it's not just getting to the cache; it's also retrieving the cache.
Yeah, they got to retrieve it.
Well, literally, if they can pick something off the floor from their wheelchair, then they can get it.
It's on the ground.
Yeah,
it's not really big, heavy rocks or anything. I think that it's probably a 1 then, because I'm looking at a picture. I can see the background; it is just pretty much flat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think.
I would say, yeah. So this is for everybody listening or watching. As we know now from experience, we have people who have helped us. Is if it can. So yeah, Direwolf's saying it can't be a 1. It can't be a 1.
Yeah, that's the kind of gray area, right? Like
it is tough if it's hard to pick up. Yeah. That's the only tricky part is
I think your original John 1.5 would be accurate because even though it could be a 1 for some people, that's kind of that divide. Like a perfect 1 would be a parking lot, and I know these are silly, but a parking lot where you can go right up to it and it's at like hand level, so you can reach it right there.
Right.
Because a lot of people's mobility issues would stop them from being able to. They can get exactly to the cache, but they can't necessarily reach all the way to the ground. So, and for a lot of cachers, they don't go to caches that are not a 1 because that's a special handicap attribute that they have on there.
Right.
So that's the most important terrain issue. Gravel isn't a T1 per ADA. So there you go.
That's fine.
So that would be 1.5.
Yeah. That's what it says right here on the wheelchair check mark. If you're not sure, make it a 1.5.
Yeah.
1.5 is good. I'm just encouraging people, if you can,
right.
try as often
that
as
one
you
for
can
sure.
to make a 1.
It's good
But
to know.
probably the most important terrain that you can mark on any geocache is a 1.
Yes.
Okay.
The most important one to get right is a 1 because that denotes that people in different disability, with different abilities can either get to it or they can't. So outside of that, it's all judgment, right? But
I'm going to make my next cache I hide very accessible. I like that.
Yeah.
Hey,
we absolutely encourage that.
Yeah, I can see some situations where someone may not be able to get it because it really couldn't be anywhere but on the ground, but I bet a lot could. So I'm still going to check the wheelchair accessible, but call it a 1.5.
No, you can't. So only a 1 can be wheelchair accessible.
Oh,
so that's why we're saying that's that really special designation. But if you're doing like a 1.5, people can experiment with it if they have more ability, but they won't automatically think they can get to it. So that's kind of the in-between one. So that's, I think you're very, very correct on that initial selection.
So we'll call it 1.5. And it's funny, all of this guesstimating is just my experience.
It is.
Like film industry, like this is my producing here. I'm like, it feels like a 1.5 difficult.
Yeah.
That's right.
Angela, leave that cat alone.
No, that's good. 1.5 and a terrain of 1.5.
I think you're pretty good with that. And that's one of those things that even people that have been in the game a long time and have hidden tons, it's so subjective, right? It's like art or anything else, right? It's really, there are some guidelines, but there's so much play in between those guidelines outside of the 1 and the 5. Like everything else in between that is very subjective.
This is interesting. I had no idea so much went into geocaching. It's really interesting.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's there's a lot.
Yeah,
but
so attributes. Should we do attributes here?
You can. I would pick a few that you go through. And you can do knots on some of them as well.
Recommended for kids, I think. Yeah.
There you go, because it's a fun place and it's safe.
I mean,
I think
that was 24/7 available because people could pull up in the middle of the night. They can't go in the store, but they could definitely get the cash.
Yeah. Exactly. That's exactly right.
I mean, do you have recommendations on what things are good to put?
So the two that you selected are great. First of all, I think there's one for dog friendly. It's a dog friendly area, so people that.
And I love dogs.
People that look at caches and the attributes, if they have their dog with them and it says no dogs, they'll just skip that one. So this one is safe for dogs, so people can stop and be good to go.
Takes less than an hour. Or should I say park and grab one? Might be a park and grab.
I would call that a park and grab. Most people would consider that a park and grab. But see, a lot of people really select the caches they're going after by the attributes. Some people don't, but
food
and gas nearby. That should be an obvious one. Yeah,
smart, Lana.
Where that guy suggested.
We got a suggestion. I like it. I didn't even hear. May require swimming. No.
Swimming.
Some people lava will do crazy stuff. They'll put
I've been to a few of those myself.
There's no scuba required, which is kind of
drinking water nearby. Did they have food there? I can't remember.
Snacks, maybe.
I think
I don't know if I would put it.
Yeah, they had water, so I'll put that.
Restrooms is an important one. If there's a restroom nearby, which there would be.
Stealth required stealth
is not required on this one, so you can actually.
I like that one.
The one that says stealth required on it, you can actually click that twice, and it'll say no stealth required. And the reason for that is everybody knows you're there for that.
Okay.
They don't have to sneak around because the owner knows, right? Obviously, you don't want to hey, I'm finding a geocache over here. Nobody take it when I leave, but
wave it up in the air.
Yeah.
Scrabble Hounds mentioned
tree climbing required. Someone mentioned earlier they wanted to use our floating technique to get stuff out of trees. I'm like, it never occurred to me they might be in trees. That's nuts.
That's funny.
It's crazy.
Many of us have been in trees.
And you don't need to, there's 15 is the max, but as long as you put a few key attributes.
I don't see what was the one that you guys were saying we should put that I don't, the stealth one. What does that look like?
So the stealth one should be a little guy in a hat, like a little, it kind of looks like a old school detective icon or something.
I love that little sneaky guy. Okay.
I would click it twice. Yeah, there you go.
Here's what we got. We've got recommended for kids, dogs allowed 24/7, park and grab, no stealth required, public restrooms, drinking water, and gas.
Perfect.
That's great. Yeah. That's a good one.
Yay.
Should we save and preview?
Yep.
Do the honors.
Always do that because you're always surprised what you type until you check it.
Yes.
So do a save and preview.
I am notorious for typing ludicrous, nonsensical things.
So it's probably a small.
Oh, yeah. What size is it? Small. Yeah, small.
Yep.
Okay.
That's very good. Look at that. There's pretty sharp.
I know. Y'all are spot on. Y'all are just naturals.
Many folks.
She's an expert at organizing stuff, I feel. And so
yes.
I like organizing.
See, you're a perfect couple because
she can keep me organized.
Yes. I didn't say it, John. You said it. I didn't have to say it.
You said I don't know if I can.
I don't think that's can.
Look, she was able to keep Meow Wolf Vegas organized all the video shoots. She coordinated all that. All of those videos that you see at the Meow Wolf Vegas, she coordinated.
We filmed a lot.
So if she could keep that organized, I bet she could keep me organized.
Do you like my pause as like of waiting? Paused, and then John goes, well, because she's organized.
Oh,
I'm not organized.
Train one. Oh, the train has to be 1.5.
Yeah, 1.5. Yeah.
I put the wrong one.
That's right.
What if my difficulty is 1? I would say it's 1.5 because it's covered. So we'll call it 1.5.
Yeah, 1.5's good.
All right. One more try. Save and preview. All right. Here we go. All right. Let's see. We've got Boland's Foot, a cache by John Katie Graham. Difficulty 1.5, terrain 1.5, size small. The coordinates, maybe if you see them there, double check I didn't get this wrong. North 32, 15.790, west 107, 00.345.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other 0 filled in by itself. So
yeah.
Okay, there we go. That's interesting. Yusuf. Okay.
So the next trick.
Yep. Okay.
Go ahead and submit. And what's going to do is it's going to ask you to put a note for the reviewer. And what that'll do is that'll be your time when you can tell the reviewer what the cache is, where it's hidden, and that and also go ahead and make a mention that you also got permission. Yeah. Because they'll want to know that.
It's so funny.
People stop it. People are like, "What can I find?" The FTFers.
If there's anybody close right now listening, they're going to go out and get it.
That's awesome.
So while you're putting in your note to the reviewers, so you two, this will be once the reviewer publishes it. That means he's going to look at your submittal, determine if it's ready to go, and he will publish it. What'll happen is others lava that are in the area around that Las Cruces cache that have set up, well, they don't even have to be in that area. Anyone who's set up a notification for that particular area, they're going to get a notification, a phone notification that there's a new cache, and it could be the middle of the night, and people, Jesse can tell you.
Oh yeah. People will get up out of bed and race to them because
they'll race out there to get it.
The first person's going to find some fun stuff we put in there too.
Yes. Real quick before we say what's in there, let me see if this is all I need. The note. This cache is located at a touristy gas stop called Boland's Running Indian. It is located between Las Cruces and Deming, New Mexico. The store gave me permission to place it, and we are in no way affiliated with the store.
Yeah, that's good.
You can tell them.
That's good for them to know.
I submitted. Oh,
all right.
I blew it. Oh, we were supposed to count down or something, right?
No, that's okay.
No, that's good.
Because it's going to be submitted.
They say it can be up to 2 weeks before it goes live because, there could be tons in that area going, and it's obviously a reviewer's a volunteer. Depending on your area, it'll probably be much less than 2 weeks. But you'll get an email back saying, it's all good to go and it's going to go live, or you'll get an email back saying, hey, we need to change something.
You know who the reviewer is, Jesse.
Yeah, I know.
So
we
put some fun stuff in it too.
So if they need any more info,
4, 3, 2, 1, oops. So I think we mentioned in there we did put a New Mexico magnet bottle cap. It's got the Z symbol, so that's the New Mexico state sign. And then thought that'd be a good honorary thing to put in there. What else did we put in there?
We put in some coins from I'm Thai American.
That's right.
So there's some Thai coins in there, some Thai baht.
Right.
And then my notebook is also something that I bought in Thailand. It's in English on the front, but it's a saying that we believe in. It's be the best version of you.
I love it.
And somebody mentioned in the audience, you be prepared to talk to your reviewer. And they are much more meticulous when it's your very first time. Like they may ask you a question, right? Like,
sure,
are you sure it's already in place? Because people will submit these sometimes and they hadn't even put it out there yet.
Oh yeah, and then they'll never get around to it.
Now, as you've done more and more, and they know you, and they know everything's going to be safe and stuff like that, they'll ask less questions. But a lot of times on the first one, they will say, "Are you sure this is a safe container? Are you sure it's a safe place for?" Especially if you do stuff like good for kids, they may ask you a question. They're just trying to make sure it's safe, and that because some people get into it and they don't have any idea, right, what they're doing. Y'all did great on this one, and
thanks.
Here's the thing too. If they email you back and say, "Hey, I want you to change this," that's okay. They're trying to make sure the game is safe for many, many things that we don't think of. So don't take that as like, an attack on you or anything. They're really trying to make sure that the game, it continues to be safe for everybody.
Yeah.
I've got a real thick skin, so I'm not too worried.
Well,
I had to interact with actors, agents, and how they want photos changed.
and they're fellow cachers, so they're wanting to. They
want more geocaches out there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm happy to whatever they need.
Yeah.
That's great. And and also there's one of the trackables from you guys in there.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Sweets.
Geocache Talk trackable there. So as we start to wrap up for tonight, I did want to mention there's a lot in the show notes tonight. So I'll get the show notes up on the website very soon. There's an interesting article I found, Lava, Amazing Asians in the Arts. Do you remember doing that article?
I do remember that one. Yes.
Yes. I thought that I have to ask you, I think it was pretty well done. Did you?
Yeah, I liked it. It was quite an honor to be featured as an amazing Asian in the arts. After I won an award last year with the Asian Festival, I was most outstanding female filmmaker in this Asian film competition. And thank you. And so then I got featured in this article about that. So thank you.
That's awesome. Yeah, we have we have international following. We have people in all over the world, and we have people from all walks of life. So we actually have had people in Thailand who've watched and listened to the show, but we also have obviously we have people who are Thai. We have all sorts of we have the shows is broad enough that we've had a lot of coverage from in a great tapestry of people in various parts of the world or different ethnicities and backgrounds and young, old, and everything. So we've been able to really, I think you would agree, Jesse. Hopefully, I don't know. I'll ask you, but I think we've covered a lot, and we had thinking of we had some people from Europe, Spain that we've had on, people in different parts of the world, and I think that's, to me, I'm very proud of the fact that we do that. We have obviously a lot of American and Canada represented, but we do have a lot of representation in different parts of the world, which
that's awesome.
Well, now that I've gotten the feel of hiding a cache,
yes,
when I do more world, next time I get to do world travel shooting stuff, I'll start hiding some caches maybe.
Well, after the show, we'll talk about a few tips on that because it's a whole nother show. But yeah. After we go off air, we'll give you a couple tips on that.
I like that.
That's for another show. All right.
Oh, I like that. That's great.
So it's one of our.
This has been rad. I love being on the show with you guys. You guys are real fun.
Well, thanks. All right. Well, let's we'll wrap up. You two stick around for a minute afterward, and we'll talk for a second, and we'll let you go. So I think that's it. Jesse, of last thoughts, and then we'll.
No, that's great. We've already run long, which we didn't even get to all the stuff we want to talk to, but y'all are great. So we had a lot of fun with y'all on tonight. So
I'm sure we'll do it again.
Yes.
Oh yeah, definitely. As a matter of fact, let us know when it goes live, and we'll update people that's out there and ready to go. So
everybody out there's want to know the GC.
Yeah, we'll give you the GC code as soon as we get answers back. Right.
Get it published. We'll put it on the website.
That's right. Yeah, we'll let everybody know.
All right. Thanks again, you two. It's been great. Been a lot of fun tonight. And yeah, we'll have you on again, and we'll talk some more. So
thank you.
There you go. All right. Thanks. We'll see y'all soon.
May your finds be many and your DNFs be few. May the terrain and difficulty both be less than 2. And whatever it is you're looking for, may it find its way to you. And may we all meet again.
Folks, we hope you've enjoyed the show tonight. Please email us your comment at geocachetalk@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. The show can be found on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Radio Public, or Spotify, as well as at the Geocache Talk website. Don't forget to click that subscribe button below and ring that bell notification so that you can see and hear the show on a weekly basis. And tell your friends about the show. Get them involved with us in the chat room. And until next week, don't just talk about geocaching, go geocaching.